Pretty Little Liars, the television series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new and almost final episodes of Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, we're almost there. So for next week, send us your questions or things if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, anything related to the finale and PLL in general. Just throw it on in there. Send it on over. By the time this will go out, I have a hunch by the time this is out that we'll both have watched the finale, so you're probably good to send spoilers on the main series over, but don't send anything on Perfectionist or Original Sin yet. Or Summer School. Yeah, don't rules lawyer your way out of it just because I didn't mention it.
Yes, because I think the people who listen to our podcast are going to do that.
Just
covering all your bases just in case.
That's right. But send them over next week and we'll answer them, talk about them on the podcast next week.
Yeah, like if you sit there and you're thinking, man, isn't it kind of weird that Emily and Allie are playing house in the same house that Emily met Maya and they found Maya's body at?
I didn't put that together.
I had that thought while going to sleep the other night. I was going to sleep and I was like, that's fucking weird.
That's real weird.
They just kind of like override the idea that Maya's family lived there. Like Allie's like, all this baby stuff my mom had in the attic. And I'm like...
Maya's family is just like, yeah, keep it.
Or did they move that all back in? Like, did they take that with them and move it back?
Same spots.
So many questions.
And
like, when they're like, oh, Allie had all these hiding spots in the house. Okay, so like, did Maya's family never find those? I guess they weren't there for very long.
No, they weren't.
These thoughts and more.
That's really messed up.
Uh-huh.
Poor Maya. She deserved better. And she deserves better than me dragging her name through the mud for weeks on end.
You were so convinced, and I was like, oh, he's going to feel bad about this one.
Oh, I do.
Okay, well, shall we jump right into this?
Yeah. We'll just wrap up, we'll go through both the episodes, which just wrap up the series. I don't think we're going to have anything to cover next week, are we? All the plots are resolved. Like, we're good.
My favorite death. Which makes me sound like a crazy person. But if you know, you know.
Yeah, that's the shit.
I know you all know. Mm-hmm. I know everyone else there has been sitting there and they're like, they're having their haha. Mm-hmm. We're having a little haha.
This is also... I have to, because like I'm such a chicken for so many horror movies and things that like I have to like psychoanalyze, almost not psychoanalyze, but I always seek to understand why it's such a popular genre, and this type of conversation is like endemic to it, of like, ooh, this death is so good, it's so ridiculous, or like, oh, it's so gruesome.
Yeah, this is like, I can't even explain. We're gonna have to watch it right after this because
probably
I've been keeping this secret for years.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at secrets. I don't know if you all know this, but he knows this. I will order his birthday presents and I have to be like, do you want to see them? And he's like, no, I want to be surprised. And I'm like, don't you want to know?
And listen, we've gotten all the way to the end of the main series. You've done such a good job.
Did I spoil anything?
I don't think so.
You only spoiled things for yourself.
Yeah.
Some of the things I didn't intend to spoil that I did, you didn't pick up on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Elliot Rollins. And then if you watch the video, I have like a minor panic attack because I remember he's British as I say it.
Why would I ever put that together? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like, whew, thank God he doesn't know. I've done that a couple times. And like, I'm glad when you like watch this to edit it, you never see it.
No.
I think it helps the microphone covers my face. Like, you don't really see my...
There's like, you are good at least being like, I'm holding back information.
Yeah, but you don't know what I'm withholding.
Yeah, exactly. Because you usually just go like, There's like a look, but I can't. I get in my head enough about it. Like if I really sat down and thought about it, that I'd I wouldn't have a confirmation, you know?
Yeah, your intuition isn't quite keyed into me yet.
Right, in that way, because you just kind of like,
yeah.
could be, or it's something even crazier.
But you were, so thinking about things and predictions before we jump into it, you were right last week about Mona.
Yeah. Unfortunate where this goes.
It's not my favorite plotline.
No.
It's one of the more irksome plotlines in the show to me, because I'm like, why couldn't we have just kept her as badass cool Mona?
Yeah.
But also she's obsessed with the game. Like, you can be hot and a little obsessive.
Absolutely. Like, why not?
In defense of all the hot girls that are also not always mentally well.
Absolutely. And also...
There are literally dozens of us.
Totally. And there should be... Really what it should be is that if we wanted Mona, like, Charlotte to confront Mona about, like, that whole inner heart of being like, you were never that cool, girl. But, like, Mona being, well, like, I recognize that person, but, like, that person's part of me. Like, you can't shake me down like this anymore.
Yeah.
But then instead it's like this, like, she has to revert back to it because of what Charlotte said, and then killing her, like, her guilt. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to spoil Twin Peaks, but it's like this weird where she, like, falls back into it, and then she's also just kind of, everybody's, like, dealing with her like she's, like, super unwell, and that she's, like, almost, like, catatonic. I'm like, this sucks. This show's really good at depowering people,
Specifically Mona.
Yeah.
They like to use, like, mental illness, and I do it in air quotes because it's not like they're using, like, legitimate, any sort of, like, I would say, like, anything that seems real, or even in the DSM-5. They like, Mona's obsession with the game
Right.
makes her, like, and it's like they love to call a woman crazy instead of calling her just vindictive.
Yeah.
Like, why can't she just be vindictive?
Right.
Why does she have to be crazy to be vindictive?
The Mona we know would never care about killing Charlotte. Like, she would care about, like, accidentally killing her, but she would also be like,
she was a bitch.
yeah, fuck her. Which is also another thing. There's so much around that we then have to cover up again. But yeah, the big Mona thing sucks. Like, as Mona being my favorite character, like, that's not her character. You know, and also just this, like, weird thing of, like, oh, she's back to her nerdy, not cool self, and her nerdy, not cool self is not empowered. And it's like, if you make her go back that way, then make her still be Mona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she's like, yeah, I've just been putting on a facade, which is also, like, this other thing. Yeah. Anyways, we might as well jump into the first episode, which doesn't deal with this. Instead, it's the return of Tanner. Season 7, episode 18, episode 158, Choose or Lose. Allie and Emily enjoy a nice morning together. They go to have morning sex and find the board game in their bed. They notice a new puzzle piece on the board. They then get a knock at the front door and hear a police siren. Police are there with a search warrant. Hannah calls them, and their police are at Lucas's place too. They stopped at Spencer's first, and they took her phone. Aria shreds papers. And Fitz wonders what the hell is going on. Can you imagine?
The warrant, it's the police,
report.
yeah.
But also, you come downstairs and your partner is just shredding papers. And then there's a knock at the door. It made me think of Arrested Development at the beginning, where he's, like, on the phone, like in the pilot, where he's like, shred the evidence. Why are you crying? So good. Yeah, this may be my favorite. That little snippet may be my favorite scene of the episode. They get a knock at the door, and Aria says it's the police. Alison goes back into her bedroom and finds the game gone. Spencer storms into the police station asking for Marco, and Tanner appears saying he's gone, but I'm on the case now. We'll come back around on this. Tanner tells Spencer that Marco was a good cop, but in Rosewood he seemed distracted. Tanner says nothing in your relationship suggested that he was in, like... Excuse me. Nothing in their relationship suggested he was conflicted in solving Dunhill's murder. Spencer's like, no. Tanner says he told me everything before he took himself off the case. And then she asks for the truth from Spencer. She said, I can't believe how well you played him. Spencer says that's not fair and goes to leave. Tanner tells her she asked to head the investigation. We'll get to the bottom of the Dunhill case. She always felt that the friends were guilty but didn't know how. This again. Fitz is pissed at the police taking stuff from their place, and an officer takes Aria's phone. She hears a phone ring in the brew when everybody's out of the room, and then finds a phone in the furnace. The phone had a missed call from AD. Aria calls back. AD picks up and says, I know the cops took your phone, but I didn't want you to be without one since you're on my team. Aria asks to meet AD and says, I've done everything you asked me. AD says, tonight I'll text you the details. And Aria, wear the uniform. Mona is at her home base computer, typing ominously.
Like black hoodies are like a uniform. It's like, wear
so
the black
good.
hoodie.
Oh no, not the black hoodie. Aria, don't put it on. It'll corrupt you. Just imagining like the One Ring. Black hoodies are like AD's ring wraiths.
Oh my God.
Hannah comes into the Radley and Ashley asks if she's all right, and Hannah says she is. Ashley asks for the truth, and that if Hannah is involved with this Dunhill case, Hannah says, I've never seen you like this, so quick to think that I need your help. And Ashley's like, well, do you? And Hannah says, yes, but I won't let you be involved. Hannah arrives upstairs and finds Caleb, Emily, Allie, and Spencer. Ashley gave them a suite to live in for the time being. Spencer gives them all burner phones for since their phones are taken. No one has heard from Aria. Emily says, we're freaked out. AD must have seen Allison and me asleep last night. And everyone's like, oh, are you two together? And Hannah's like, well, it's about time you two. And then Caleb thinks he can track where the info, like where the game is.
My favorite thing is Caleb's just like, okay, I'm going to keep going.
He's like,
I don't really give a shit.
yeah, okay. Sure, you're together now. Can we get back onto the important things? Caleb thinks he can
Well,
track.
that's two less of the friends he can date, you know? He's trying to do the whole group. He's down to just Aria.
Yeah. He's like, oh, damn.
Just kidding, but I am mad about that still.
Yeah, we're still mad.
I don't forgive. Fun fact about me.
Or forget, Caleb. Or forget.
Yeah. I will never let you move on.
Mm-mm.
For what he did. And we watched Ravenswood. Sorry, carry on.
You know what, actually? What is worse for you?
God, I had never been more miserable in my life.
I could excuse the cheating, but Ravenswood?
Well, it's both. You can't put me through both. He came back. Okay, we recovered. The end of Ravenswood was kind of getting better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was on board from the jump because I'm like, damn, this could go places.
And then it went nowhere.
Yeah. Caleb thinks he can track where the board game is. Hannah goes to the table to get some food and lifts the lid and finds the phone from the board game. It lights up and says, just one plea and the rest go free. If no one steps up, you all go down. A timer lights up with 36 hours. Mona comes into the room. She's like, if you want an explanation, you might ask Aria. I think she's on AD's team. Spencer asks her to explain, and Mona makes everyone scoot over on the couch for her to sit. She sits in the middle of Emily and Allison. Mona says...
No, I thought you sit in the middle of Emily and Hannah.
Oh, Emily and Hannah?
Or Allie and Hannah, and Emily has to move to another chair.
Oh, okay. Mona says Aria wasn't present at the PR event at the same time as the nursery was trashed. Isn't that interesting? Aria was near Spencer's house when the recording of Peter and Mary was played over speakers. And Spencer's like, how do you know about that? But yes.
We never find out how she knows about that.
No. I think it's exactly... We don't get confirmation on this, but I think it is exactly the Mona got invested in the game and is now keeping tabs on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mona also saw Aria get the puzzle piece. Mona also recorded Aria on the phone with AD. Spencer asked for concrete proof, and Mona says you asked for it. I was convinced also, and I guess I'm not totally dissuaded yet, we still have another episode, that Mona was the one that like sets up Aria in this. That like the phone wasn't actually AD. Because of Mona, this exact line of Mona saying like, you want concrete proof? Well, I'll give it to you. That she set up the trap for...
I didn't know if she set up the trap or if it was a, she was tapping Aria's phone.
Yeah, maybe.
If she was like,
she's going to be meeting
She's going to be meeting her here.
Yeah.
You should go. But also like, why would they then interrupt when they want AD to show up so they could catch AD?
Right. It's like small potatoes.
Yeah. Also like... the fact that we'll talk about this when we get to the questions, but the fact that all of them are like so outraged by this when all of them have done so much fucking worse, I'm like so confused.
Especially Spencer. Glass houses, come on.
Yeah, Spencer dated Toby while he was doing this.
Uh-huh. Well, and when Aria later is like, you kidnapped Malcolm.
Yeah.
You kidnapped a kid. Tanner talks on the phone that they issued search warrants and will file charges within the week. An officer found a piece of glass in the shower drain at Spencer's barn that had traces of blood on it. Spencer sees the downy paper towel man, Toby, in the Radley lobby. He got called in for questioning. He's hanging in there since Yvonne and has been living at his cabin. He invites Spencer to get out of town and join him there. It then gets awkward after this. Spencer doesn't respond. It's just dead silence. And Spencer's like, okay, about Tanner? Toby's like, she's building a solid case, but didn't share a lot. Spencer asks if she should be worried, and Toby asks if she was involved. Spencer says she has to go, and then Toby asks where. And she's like, it's better if you don't know. Aria, dressed all in black, goes to leave the brew when Fitz sees her and asks what's going on. She says nothing. His phone rings, and she tells him to answer it, and then sneaks out. Aria stands alone in the park. She gets a text from AD that says she looks good in the uniform. She follows the sound of leaves rustling and then runs into the friends. Shit. The friends ask what she's doing out there, and Alison says Mona was right. Emily grills her on what she did, and Hannah says they caught her black hoodied and asks why she joined AD. Aria tells them about the police report. Alison doesn't care that Fitz would have gone to jail. Fair enough. And Emily says you could have talked to us. Fair enough. Emily asks if she knows about the timer, and Aria's like, AD never mentioned any of that. Allie steps away for a call. Aria says A has made us do wild stuff. Remember when you kidnapped Malcolm, Spencer? And he's like, I've never hurt anybody, though. Because of you, Aria, my parents are getting divorced. Okay, don't blame that all on Aria.
Yeah, I was like, it's because Peter can't keep its dick to himself. What do you mean?
Multiple times.
Multiple times. Oh, well, my biggest mistake was that I fucked the wrong twin. Sir. Sir.
Again.
The fact that Veronica, this wasn't a whole story of Veronica killing him and burying him under the pool would
fair enough.
Plot of Desperate Housewives or something. I don't remember where the body is in Desperate Housewives. Is it under the pool?
I did not watch Desperate Housewives.
Spoiler alert, but also maybe not, because I actually don't remember how the first season ends.
I went to bed after Lost, so I did not watch Desperate Housewives. I went nighty-night.
Cute baby.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, wow. That was an intense episode. Time for bed. She says...
Not me. I had to watch a nice murder. Actually, I usually came home, I feel like, when Desperate Housewives was on, because I got done with dance at like 9.
Oh, that makes sense. Aria says she's done and is out and goes to leave. Or no, Spencer says she's done and she's out and goes to leave. Allie stops her and says she's got a call from Tanner and they have to go to the station. Spencer tells Aria she can find her own ride.
As if like Aria's going to leave her car there? Like, how the fuck did she get there?
She's like, cool, yeah, thanks. At the station, Tanner wants to run through the evidence, shows off the glass that they found and that Lucas's car recently had its windshield replaced, and the fragments match the glass in Dunhill's fingernails. They are going through their search histories on their phones and computers and the camera on the elevator at the Radley. They ask why Tanner is telling them all this. Tanner says, tell your side of the story and I'll help. Spencer's like, you rescued us 5 years ago. Tanner says, well, you didn't tell me the truth and you ended up in an underground bunker.
Well, she wouldn't believe him. They did tell her the truth at one point.
Yeah, it's so funny to just victim blame him. Spencer asks if they're done, and Tanner says for now. Aria drives home and calls AD on the phone. They say, I'm disappointed in you. You got sloppy. Aria's like, I'm disappointed in you. I've done everything you asked and got nothing. AD says, you're done when I say, and Aria can't hang up the phone call. Aria goes to throw the phone out of the car, and AD's like, wait, tomorrow's another day. Wait for it. And Aria keeps the phone. The friends minus Aria are at the Radley. Hannah asks if anyone else noticed Mona being different that morning. Allie says Mona's always different. The countdown timer reaches 24 hours left. They all take turns, minus Emily, saying they can go to jail. And then Emily's like, AD is doing this to push us apart. Look at Aria. And Spencer's like, well, she did this to herself. And Emily says, but AD got you to play the game first. And Spencer gets up and says she has some thinking to do. Caleb is sleepy at his laptop in the library. Ashley wakes him up and asks to talk and wants to know what's going on with Hannah and that she knows it's about Dunhill and if Hannah is covering for someone. Cut to Caleb and Hannah being like, I can't believe you told my mom everything. Caleb's like, well, I haven't had any luck finding the location of the game board. Hannah pontificates about the old flip phones and there was less to worry about with them. Spencer visits Aria and shows her a picture of the friend she found in the barn from way back when. Aria apologizes, and Spencer's like, oh, I can't forgive you just yet. Aria asks what she can do, and Spencer's like, well, you've done enough, but you were right about me taking Malcolm. No one is blameless. There's a knock at the door, and Aria answers to police bringing stuff back. Tanner says she received proof that Aria wasn't in Rosewood the night of Dunhill's death via a photo from a traffic light cam in New Hampshire. Spencer storms off pissed. Fitz comes in and asks Aria what's going on, and Aria's like, well, we need to talk. Fitz then tells Aria he knew about the police report, and after the cops left, he dumped the shredded paper in the compost. The other night, when she went to sleep, he found it and tells Aria...
He stuck it all together?
No, I had messed up on that description. So he tells her that he got rid of the evidence after there, but then goes back and is like, I saw this the other night.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He's like, I would, like...
Could you imagine Fitz with like a little piece of the tape?
She put it together. Oh, God. Like, Only Murders. He's like, you were right to be angry with me. I would have deserved being turned in, and maybe I still do. And Aria's like, no, you do not. Don't say that. I was scared, and I've done terrible things to other people. And Fitz like, well, you don't, like, says she doesn't have to tell him about any of this. And Aria's like, yes, I do, but I have to do one thing first before I tell you, because I don't know if you'll still be here afterwards. And they have sex.
Why didn't she just like burn it? They just set it on fire.
Yeah. Well, the shredder was right there.
That's true.
Caleb brings Hannah to get married at the courthouse. Caleb says, with everything going on right now, we should do it before we can't. And if we're married, we can't testify against each other. Wink. They can't. Again, back to Arrested Development. Hannah is game. Ashley comes in saying, hope I'm not too late. Caleb told me all the truth in this, and I'm going to be upset with you, but that's all tomorrow. Tonight, we have to get you hitched. And then a lawyer comes in and lets them into the courtroom. Allison and Emily walk through the woods. Emily says, maybe we should get out of here. And Emily's like, my leaving was just a dream. Emily says, Rosewood is a place where dreams go to die. And Allison's like, not all of them. I had a dream of us going here. And she set up a little picnic at the Kissing Rock. Emily's like, it's our last chance at freedom. Let's make the most of it. And they kiss. Toby answers the door to Spencer. He invites her in and says, I thought you'd be in Rosewood keeping tabs on Tanner's case. Spencer said, whatever will happen, will happen. And Toby's like, well, that doesn't sound like the Spencer I know. They share a beer, and Spencer asks if he remembers their kiss recently, and he's like, I do. She's like, it was nice, wasn't it? And kisses him. We then get a sex scene and wedding montage between everybody. Spencer arrives home to the barn and finds Emily and Allison there. There's only seconds left on the phone. Caleb and Hannah are also there because I had this like writing in consensual order. It's like, oh, there's more people in the room. But Aria is missing. Hannah says to make a promise that no matter what happens next, they'll all understand and won't blame anyone for anything. The phone counts down to 0 and it flashes, choose or lose. What's your choice? Spencer then grabs a rock and smashes it. Hannah's like, why didn't we do that earlier? Kev says, you wait here. Toby got a hit on the location, and I texted Fitz to meet me. This is a boys only thing. You all stay here.
My favorite thing about this is like then Toby's not answering his phone like 5 minutes later. Make it make sense. I don't know the timeline, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, when did Caleb, how long ago did Caleb receive the text? Aria's alone at Fitz's. She calls AD. She says, there's a way to get you out of my life. I'm going to turn myself in. If I tell Tanner, the others go free. AD says, that's very noble of you, but you're too late. Aria's like, what? AD's like, well, the time ran out, and you won. You get unlimited freedom. Enjoy it wherever you want. I'm going to miss these calls, Aria. And Aria's like, wait, no, you can't. And the phone lights on fire. Aria searches through the boxes of evidence and grabs her phone and leaves. The boys are in Fitz's car, minus Toby, and find a location for the cell tower.
Just Caleb and Fitz.
Yeah. It's the boys, minus one.
You're right. Sorry.
But yes, I understand. I mean, what's quicker, the boys or Caleb and Fitz?
That's true.
Caleb realizes Mona lives a block away. Aria calls Spencer, saying she's on the way to her and thinks that she has a way to make things right. She hangs up and hears something rattling around in her trunk. She pulls over and goes to check, and we see there's a body with a missing finger in there. And then the police pull up, and Aria shuts the trunk. This is good. They should have done this earlier. Fitz and Caleb go to Mona's, and Caleb is using an iPad with thermovision to see Mona in her place. They watch Mona, and Caleb says the signals from the game are coming from inside the apartment. We then see in Mona's apartment, she's got the game board as a little jail cell rises up from it. The end.
All right. On what grounds did they get a search warrant to go into all of their homes?
Yeah, on what? Because then they find evidence.
They
That's
didn't
not how
have
that works.
evidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Tanner's like, I just have it out for him at every cent. Give this to me, Judge. I hate these girls, even though I saved them when they were kidnapped in a bunker.
She didn't save them. Caleb saved them.
Right. I was there when they got pulled out of a bunker. And you think that would offer them some grace. But instead, she's like, I'm going to nail them to the wall.
She's like, let me accuse these girls of murder again.
She's like, this time it'll work. Really?
She's so out of pocket.
I can't believe Tanner's back.
And that she's so like before she's always been like, she's been a little more understanding in these later seasons. I think, you know, and then now she's
Because it makes sense.
Yeah. She's
right?
like, I'm gonna get you again. And you're like, why?
So, like, something must have happened behind the scenes for Marco to disappear. Maybe they put him in too many episodes and they're like, whoa, we'd have to pay you as a series regular.
My thought was that so for these final episodes, it seems like this last season they tried to bring back as many people that were willing to come back as possible. And so my guess was that Tanner was one of those.
It's just a really big missed opportunity because there's all that, like, tension left over of Marco being there, and now he's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, that would make more sense again. That would be juicy of, like, Marco being like, I'm pulling this case together. I now have at least enough conjecture on what was going on to, like, kind of that I have to go after you now. And I'm still conflicted about having to do this to you, Spencer, but I'm like, you know, this is my job. I really believe in getting justice, even if it is someone that, like, I'm starting to love. But no, that's all gone. Mm-hmm. It's just Tanner pointing fingers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hannah telling your mom casually that she's a murderer in the Radley is a 10 out of 10 to me.
Good.
I'm just
okay. Yeah, I killed him. Oh, you know what I didn't think about until I was watching the episode, and then I promptly forgot of myriad of notes, and then just remembered right now that Hannah gets run over in season 1.
Yeah,
and then she's now the one running people over.
Yeah, Mona hit her with the car.
Mm-hmm.
And never got in trouble for it.
No, yeah, scot-free. Well, yeah, it was only like
I don't think they reported all the things Mona did to them. You know what I mean? Mona got caught at the end.
Mm-hmm. And Hannah was probably like, I don't want to do that to my friend.
Which girl would you pick to send to jail in the Choose or Loose if you had to pick one?
Oh. Man, that's tough. Because is it out of the 5? All 5 of them, right?
Yeah. You can't just send Fitz, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Who would I send? You know, I've really liked Hannah. But you've really been trying my patience these past couple seasons.
I love it.
You know?
Yeah.
Straight to jail. Everybody else, like, even like Allison is like just kind of mostly like chilling out. That I'm like, I don't really. She did a lot of crimes in the past, and that was more fun. And now she's just kind of like boring for the most part. And I can't in good conscience send her to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I support that.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Hannah.
Speaking of
this is
Hannah,
a tough choice, but
well, she's the one who hit him with the car, and she left the broken glass in Spencer's drain.
Mm-hmm.
She left out ways to get caught.
Totally. And on the same night that her ex is coming there,
mm-hmm.
you know, when he was dating Spencer.
Exactly.
This is really what it all comes down to. Everybody else is just making their own mess. Hannah's making her mess someone else's problem.
One word thoughts on Toby's beard.
I mean,
mine is why.
Truly, it's really funny. That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
he's
oh,
sad. He's been in his cabin. He's a lumberjack.
He's
now.
a little lumberjack.
Is he going to be a carpenter again?
Okay, I'm on board with the beard if he becomes a carpenter again. But he's just in his profoundly sad boy era, and for good reason.
Fair enough. Let's. Oh.
But it doesn't stop him. Later.
No.
Nope.
He's sad and horny.
Yeah.
I can respect it.
And Yvonne is, how long has she been in the grave?
We're not going to talk about that. So Aria is revealed to be on the A-team to the girls. We already know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most strange reveal. We've already just touched on it a little, but just like that they're so mean to her about this when like
everybody else gets like, okay, well, that was rough, Spencer, but like, thank you. You're back with us now.
yeah.
Hannah torturing Noel in a cabin and going AWOL.
Yeah.
And putting everybody else at jeopardy. And it's like, well, welcome back to the fold. I understand Emily and Allison being the most upset because that is a very private, personal space that she entered and then really gleefully tore apart. They don't know about that piece, but like, it's like, that must have been really hard for you, Aria. And she's like, mm-hmm. Well, it was actually really cathartic tearing that bear up.
I mean, maybe she's having flashbacks when she destroyed Fitz's apartment. She
That's
gets
true.
a lot of good tearing rooms up scenes.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of jealous.
I know.
That sounds really good.
That must have been fun. But Spencer, it's just like, your parents were a train wreck. Continue to be. Present. At least one of them.
Yeah, and that she's like, my parents are getting divorced because of you. No, they're not.
No, they're not. Look at your father.
Also, your mom's not going to leave him. If previous history
Yeah, because they were
denotes anything.
She threatened this before.
Yeah.
And it was like, actually, we stayed together through a time jump. And she's like, well, now I got to give up my Senate seat for this asshole. But I'll finally end it.
And luckily, like, I think Emily, as always, is like the most understanding, which I thought it would be Spencer because Spencer is the one who did this.
Right. She's like, I've been down this path before.
Yeah.
But no.
On a much less vicious A.
Right. And then again, like Emily and Allison had the most
reasons to be upset, like righteous anger.
Totally. And they're like, okay, like water under the bridge.
Also, the idea of there being a timer and them not including Aria is absolutely batshit. Like that you have to pick one of them and that you only have one day. Like, be mad at her. But like Spencer was willing to be around Hannah with the whole Caleb thing immediately. Immediately.
You know, I just wasn't that into Caleb, but my parents. Why?
Why indeed? AD.
Yeah, and then like when they're like chummy in the next episode, I thought I was losing my mind.
Caleb and Spencer. Oh, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Uh-huh. It's like she like punches him on the shoulder. I think she like literally does like, oh, you so glad you crazy kids worked it out. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I would be committing crimes.
I know.
I mean, they are, but I would have been committing different crimes.
Oh, God. I feel like there have been like specific fixations that we have, and it has slowly moved on to this instead of like how much Fitz sucks throughout this podcast series.
Fitz actually has like a redeeming scene in the next episode because he's like, these aren't your real friends. Your real friends wouldn't treat you like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right
yeah.
now.
Fitz going to bat for Aria is 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, we all grew up. Unfortunately, you were an adult when we started.
Yeah, exactly.
AD literally sets Aria's phone on fire.
It's so good.
How does one do that?
It's a Mission Impossible move. It's so funny. Just boom. And then Aria being like, wait, you can't cut me off. I want to go turn myself in. And then AD being like, I'm good.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, we're done.
How did AD get Dunhill's body in Aria's trunk?
Oh,
sorry. Were you going to say something else?
Well, we're on the AD conversation, so we'll start with Dunhill and then we'll move on to the next. So it must have just been. Oh, I bet when Aria was in the woods, meeting with the friends. AD's like, well, I can't meet with you. Time to dump a body. I hadn't thought about that. I'm like,
that's
why
good.
did you do it? Because then Aria probably would have heard it. Oh wait,
no, Aria would have heard it driving home.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Because after that, they go to the police station.
So it must have been while it was at her apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just parked out there. That's fair enough. I was mostly just thinking about AD. AD is so toothless. There's no threat to AD. Like AD.
Besides framing them for murder.
Yeah,
I mean, they did actually commit the murder. Is that even framing?
But I just mean like AD hasn't. AD let Hannah get away with losing a turn. This timer counts down with like nothing happening. And then Aria's the one that gets the body in the trunk for helping out, I guess. But I feel like the rules of the game that AD has set up here are like really fungible and they don't work. And then AD in the next episode also is just like, well, here's 2 puzzle pieces. Just, I didn't set this up well enough.
Well, no, it's because the goal was to get the information of who killed Charlotte. So because they got that in one go, they got the rest of the missing pieces.
Yeah. But like
that made sense to me.
But it's like a game, right? Yeah. And you do the steps, you get the piece.
No, but in this case, they finished the goal, so they get the prize.
Yeah, but in the game, you don't get to just jump ahead on the goal. You know what I mean? There's rules.
Yeah, but sometimes the rules aren't, you don't have to follow all of the rules. Sometimes it's like you just need to get to the end result.
When you put a conceit of a game inside of a literal board game, it's trying, as you can tell, it's driving me nuts.
I just like, it's a puzzle. It's fine.
But they were putting together.
But when you play a game, like a table game that like,
I was playing Sorry.
I'm thinking, let's play it like a group game, like Pandemic.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to accomplish all of the little like individual things that people can do to win. You can have some setbacks and still win the game as a group and reach the end goal.
To do that by going through the rules of the game.
Yeah, but the rules of the game were just to get the information.
Maybe that's my big gap here.
I don't think you understand the game. AD's only motivation has been to figure out who killed Charlotte.
I know, but...
And why?
Then why put it in this conceit of a game? Because it's not really... It doesn't work.
I feel like it works. There's
like
a lot of...
game of like Sorry.
But it's like not Candyland. Sorry. It's not Candyland. You're playing as a group against the board. You have to think like Pandemic. You have to think like one of the games where you're playing like as a team.
I know it doesn't work there.
It's not Sorry. It's not Monopoly.
But this is like that you were...
It's like...
The game did not tell you to do something and then you figured it out. They happened to get information by happenstance and the game's like, you're finished.
Yeah, because they still met the goal.
Yeah, but in a board game, you have to do it by following along the rules.
But this isn't just a board game.
I know, this is what is upsetting me. Now we've gotten to the point.
Okay. I was like, it's not just a board game. It's a torture device.
But when you put the thing there, they should have rules because then that's what makes it fun, that you're like, we're stuck in this game.
But they're not, because A is intentionally pulling them out of the game to make them miserable. If it was just a game, they'd be fine.
No, but if the torture and everything fed back into the game, it would work better. I find the game as a metaphor here lacking.
You're allowed to feel that way. I just like don't give a shit.
I can't.
I'm like, it's fine.
I just have to make how I feel clear.
I think it's
I'm not happy about it.
Okay. I think you gotta let it go, baby. That's really the hill you're gonna die on?
I have other hills.
Okay, I was gonna say
there are many hills.
I feel like we should do some more climbing.
Many hills. Many places.
Should Caleb have told Ashley what was going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley has proved time and time again that if she's the one adult that you should tell things to. She has her own messes at the time. Ashley has been lucky these past 2 seasons past season and a half, past the time jump, I should say, that they've been so busy with other things that Ashley hasn't had time to get into trouble. She's just been a business owner. A girl boss.
A girl boss.
In the most literal sense.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Hannah and Caleb's wedding because it annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hill I would die on.
I agree with you.
Because this was the wedding that I said, like, there's a wedding in the show that I think is completely out of character. Hannah would not just casually, quickly get married in the courthouse. Would Caleb and Spencer have done this, even solely to not testify against each other?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it would work. Toby and Spencer, because Toby's a cop? Absolutely. So he doesn't have to testify against Spencer. I could totally see that.
Aria and Fitz. Because they were talking about doing their own thing anyway, and it's like...
100%. But Caleb and Hannah? I get so mad thinking about this.
Yeah.
Hannah deserved a princess wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Old Hannah. Current Hannah? Meh.
Going to jail. But yeah, I mean, you would
She
think,
can take her board game and she can go to jail.
yeah, you would think that you would like even like do something, even if it was just small with them in the church, but it's like all made up. And it's like to the nines, and
Or like had
she's
the
in a
girls
dress.
decorate and she has a dress that Mona brought or something. And
Right. Or yeah, and like Caleb's there and he's in a suit and he's like, I brought your dress for you. Like this is one that you picked out. Because Hannah would care about that.
And Mona would know what dress Hannah was planning on getting married in.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is in the next episode. But when you're watching it, you're like, Hannah has the weirdest people that are in love with her.
Hannah does have the weirdest people that are in love with her. It's like,
so true.
Let's pick the, not weirdest. I think I said most obsessive.
Oh, yes.
Because it's Mona, Lucas, and then, I mean, Caleb, but he's just
He's
normal
also
and obsessed.
obsessive, but yeah.
But he's like, I feel like a normal romantic about. Whereas like Mona is obsessed with Hannah. And
Same with Lucas.
Lucas is obsessed with Hannah. And you're just like,
That doesn't happen to any other character.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was funny when you brought that up. It's like
Aria is just the only one that has friends outside of their friend group. Holden.
Oh yeah.
Just like she makes more friends. I just think it's really funny. It's like because they had to give her side plots.
Right. She needed someone else to vent to about Fitz.
Let's talk about Emily and Allie just like wandering off to the woods alone. I mean, I know they went to the Kissing Rock. Like they had like a cute little scene at the Kissing Rock.
But it's like, what are you doing out in the woods by yourselves?
You literally like you're wanted for murder and there's a murderer out there.
Seems like a bad idea to go into the woods.
And then Spencer's showing up at Toby. Absolutely wild.
Oh yeah. I can imagine if you're watching this being like, whoa, what is going on?
And he rubs her gunshot wound. It's very specific.
Ooh. But he doesn't patch it up.
Well, it's not open.
I know, but just going off of what you've mentioned before.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's not bleeding.
Yeah.
And we already had Marco do that.
It's wild.
Uh-huh.
I mourn for what would happen if Marco was around.
It would have been interesting, huh?
Totally.
And we could have had the scene of her hooking up with Marco and then her hooking up with Toby. And that would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting.
If you know, you know.
These last episodes are like, ooh, we've run out of time. Crap.
Everybody fuck.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. All right, we have to have everybody paying off here, quite literally. So I don't know.
All right, you ready for the next episode?
All right, here comes the big one. Season 7, episode 19, episode 159. Farewell, my lovely. Tanner's on the phone asking for signatures on arrest warrants. We see pictures of all the friends on files. Aria talks to the cops and says she was waiting for a friend. She's going to have a friend come pick her up because she locked her keys in her trunk. The officer says maybe we can shake the latch loose, and then it starts like shaking the back of the car, much to Aria's protest, and the trunk starts to like kind of like pop open, but only slightly so the cop doesn't see what's inside. Cop gets a call that distracts him, and Aria snatches the keys out and closes it. The friends are gathered in the barn. Caleb says Mona has the game, and it's her game. They all think she's AD. Caleb has been hearing Tanner on the phone and that she's getting ready to move. Spencer says we need Mona. We need Mona then to explain how they ended up on the road with Dunhill. Caleb and Hannah both volunteer to talk to her. Spencer notices a wine bottle with a note by her door. Fitz can't reach Aria and is pissed at everybody for cutting her off. Fair enough. He yells at everyone and storms off. Fair enough. Caleb stops him outside and asks if he called Toby. Fitz says straight to voicemail. Fitz is going to look for Aria, and Caleb says he can help and asks if she has an extra set of car keys. Aria drives and hears the body making noise, and so she starts talking to the body. This is fantastic. On being like telling them to be quiet, and it's like, hey, do you know who AD is? And it's like, hey, maybe I could go to the police and tell them I killed you, and I can fix this. Does that sound good? Yeah, I'm glad you agree. And turns around.
Vibes. Me when I'm walking alone with Herman, but
Mona comes home in I noted this outfit: blue Ugg boots, camo pajama pants, and a black hoodie. Nefarious outfit. She goes over to the box and hears a noise outside in the alley. She opens up the lid to the game, and inside finds a note on there on Two Crows paper that says time for pie. Be there. Caleb and Hannah head to Mona's and find her leaving, this time in a peacoat. They watch her leave from the stairwell, and Hannah wants them to find where she is going. Spencer arrives at the Lost Woods to see Mary. Mary says, "Thank you for coming. I didn't leave because I remembered some unfinished business I have. I have a going away gift for you. It's something for you and Allison." Spencer asks what it is. Mary says, It's the Lost Woods. I put the deed in your name and Allison's. You'll need the money for everything that's happening with the police. Mary says, "I wish there was something I can do, like I owe you. The bank will deliver the deed tomorrow. I hope it helps." She tells Spencer goodbye again. Spencer grabs her hand and tells her to be careful. Mary says, "I will, you too." And then, yeah, we'll come back around on something. I made there's a little note to myself as I was watching this, so we'll come back around on it.
Okay.
Allison and Emily notice a police car waiting outside their house, waiting for them. Allie wonders what will happen to the baby when they're arrested. It'll be just like Charlotte, and we can't stop it. Emily says she's not going to lose everything now. I won't let them hurt you. The camera then pans over to their fireplace and the gas line. Aria walks toward the police station when Fitz grabs her. Fitz found her because Caleb tapped into the transmitter of her car alarm. He's like, "You have an alibi. You're in the clear." And Aria's like, "Well, I have Dunhill's body in the trunk of my car." Mona waits outside the Two Crows, and Haleb waits outside watching her. Hannah wonders why she's so nervous. Inside the Two Crows, she's at a table. Spencer pulls up behind the two of them. Hannah reminds everyone that Mona was called there to meet Charlotte. She wonders if Mona moved the game to prevent the police from finding it, and Caleb doesn't want to hear that. He doesn't want to think that Mona was working in their best interest. Spencer says, "You're arguing like you're married or something," and they exchange weird looks. Spencer tells Hannah she talked to Mary and gave her the Lost Woods. Spencer says maybe we should grab Mona while we can, and they turn around and find Caleb gone. We see Caleb went into the Two Crows and sits down opposite Mona. Inside the diner, Caleb asks who she was waiting for, and she says nobody. He says, "Let's go for a ride then," and Mona's like, "I don't want to go anywhere with you." Caleb says, "We're going to go to the police and tell them about making the game." Mona says, "Someone stole the game from me. Someone is always stealing the game from me. I told Hannah it was a bad idea for me touching the thing. We're out of our league, all of us. There's always been someone else watching, manipulating." Caleb tries to take the note that Mona's playing with from her. Spencer and Hannah come in to ask what Caleb is doing, and they turn around and Mona has run off. They go to follow her into the bathroom and find that she's gone, and her receipt is on the ground and has a note that says "Leave now." They find a secret passageway in the wall and think that she also got out this way the night Charlotte got killed. Spencer and Caleb go to follow and tell Hannah that she's not allowed. Why?
He's like, "The last time you went down a tunnel, you were kidnapped." Like, oh, so you're going to leave her alone?
It's so much safer for you to be by yourself. Tanner looks over the arrest warrants for all the friends. Fitz and Aria meet at the brew. Fitz wants to run away, and Aria's like, "I can't leave my friends." Fitz says they gave you up, and Aria says, "We're forced to do bad things, but you can't let your past trauma keep you scared." And then mentions being locked in a box.
She mentions her trauma.
Fitz says we have to deal with the body in the trunk, and Aria asks how, and he's like, "I have a master's degree in American literature. There's nothing I can't handle."
My favorite thing about that line is not English literature. It is not literature. It is American literature, as if in particular American literature is where we bury bodies.
That's right. And
which is not true. All the murder mysteries I feel like are like the classic murder mysteries are British.
Is Poe British?
Edgar Allan Poe?
Or is he?
I don't fucking know.
I'm thinking of Body Under the Floorboards.
I feel like Poe's American.
Okay, so there's one.
Well, let me double check though.
But I don't think mostly, you're talking about like Huck Finn.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just thinking of the one outlier.
Yeah, Poe is United States.
Okay.
You know why I know Poe is American? Because of that episode of Gilmore Girls where they have the Poe Society.
Oh,
And I'm like, he must have been big on the East Coast. Yeah. He is in Maryland. In Baltimore. Or that's where he died. He was born in Boston.
Oh.
He only lived to be 40.
Damn, that's young.
Anyway, enough about Edgar Allan Poe.
But yeah, I don't think there's much else that you can pull from in American literature.
Yeah. A lot of the English classes I took, we didn't read a lot of American literature. It's a really young country in comparison. Like you're going to read like when you read literature from the 1500s, you're not going to pull it from here because if there was any documented literature here, we probably destroyed it when we colonized.
That's right.
Or any storytelling and that we
paved that over.
It's not a good place to be.
No.
Beowulf did not originate here, you know?
No, absolutely not.
God, I hated Beowulf.
Fitz and Aria leave the brew and find the body gone. The next day at Rosewood High, we catch up to the flashback scene from forever ago, where they all ran into where Allison was writing on the board, and they all run in to say he's coming. Allison had written her names, her different aliases on the board, so it's like Allison, Vivian, Mrs. Rollins.
She'd written Allison, De Laurentiis Fields. Like there's lots of them on there.
Yeah. The friends come in saying he's coming for you, and then Spencer runs in saying he's already here and barricades the door. Someone comes banging on the door as the lights change, and they say he's pretty spry for a dead guy, and then a hand bursts through the wall and grabs Allison, and Emily wakes up from the nightmare. Emily then wakes up Allison, and they realize they both fell asleep and don't know why. They see the game on the table as it turns on, and they hear Allison's voice. It's looping from the I Know You Want to Kiss Me video where Allison is saying we don't have a lot of time. They hear a knock at the door, and it's Aria asking for them to open up. Caleb and Spencer walk through the tunnels. Caleb doesn't think Mona's AD anymore and says, poor Mona. She always wanted to be in charge of everything. Spencer says she ended up as middle management. That's gotta hurt. Yeah. Caleb decides to tell her that Hannah and him got married, and Spencer's like, congratulations, you two.
You're disgusted.
Ugh. Caleb says, I feel like I need to say sorry, and Spencer's like, you don't dare apologize for being with me, and don't forget about it, because I won't. I hate this.
I wanted to do very angry things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unspeakable things.
Mm-hmm.
It's so awful, and it's so... You don't have to be the cool girl when the guy you were dating that your friend said you could date because they dated him a long time ago and they'd broken up, then changes their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be cool about that. Be a bitch about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Make a stink.
Destroy friendships and lives. That's my motto.
Well, they did.
Yeah. I'm sorry that telling people about your actions makes you look bad.
Oh, consequences? Party of two? Fitz, Aria, and Emily.
Safari of two.
What?
I said safari of two.
Spencer's gonna ruin their night
at the Rainforest Cafe. You don't know. We have this like weird obsession with the Rainforest Cafe, which is horrible because we have food allergies and it's really hard to eat most places.
So is Rainforest Cafe just an American thing? Should we explain what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's like an American thing, and they've closed a lot of them, so it might only be like there's not a lot left. There's one in Disney World. There's two in Disney World.
Yeah.
There's one in Disney Springs, and there's one in Disney's Animal Kingdom. But there used to be one in downtown Disney in Anaheim, which is the one I used to go to as a child every time we went to Disneyland. And they closed it kind of recently and turned it into a Star Wars store. Anyway, but so a Rainforest Cafe is a sit-down dining restaurant where it's rainforest themed, but like there's like not live, but there's like large animatronics that move, and like every 15-20 minutes there's a storm, and so it like because you're in the rainforest, so it's like it makes rainforest noises and the lights go off and the lightning flashes and all the animals, the spotlights come on them and they move. And we went to them a lot, and
it's amazing.
It's amazing. The last time we went, we drank at the Rainforest Cafe because that's when you hit your head on the monorail.
Yeah, them 2016, 2017?
Yeah, somewhere in there. But as a child, I went to the Rainforest Cafe, and when you're like, I don't know, I was in between like 8 and 10, like where you're like, I can go to the bathroom by myself. Like I can walk across the restaurant to go to the bathroom. Like I'm a big kid. And so I took myself to the bathroom, and as I was walking back to my table, the storm started, which means all the lights went off. So I just stood, I waited because I was like, I don't want to walk into a table, and apparently I was right in front of, I can't remember if it was the gorilla or the elephant, but it was a large animal. And all of a sudden the spotlight comes on behind me and this thing is moving behind me. And the fact that I did not scream or cry is one of my prouder moments. But I do wish my parents had taken a picture of my face because they could, like, then when the light came on, I could see them and they're like watching me. And I'm like,
you were very brave.
I was very brave and I was very scared. And I still go back.
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. And the last thing for these, the one in Disneyland was like made up to look like a Mayan temple, and then there's one in
Disney Springs
looks like a volcano.
Yeah,
They go all out.
They go all out. They're so cool. It was a very fun thing. I know they were in like major cities. Like I know there's one in Vegas and I think there's one in like New York, but I don't know how many of them are still open.
Yeah. Oh, actually the most important piece of information that's connecting this to the party, they call, instead of like party of 2 for your table, like party of 4, it's safaris.
It's safaris. And so every time we would walk by, Brenton would be like, ooh, safari of 2.
Yeah.
I also went there with my cousin once and it was when I graduated college. So I was 22. She was 27. She was a lawyer. We were full grown adults and we go to walk in and the woman looks at us and she goes, 2 adults?
So mean.
We were like, yeah.
Oh,
but 10 out
rude.
of 10.
Yeah.
They had really good mozzarella sticks. That's what I remember.
I hope they still do for everybody that's still going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know I was celiac then, so.
Yeah.
Well.
Life was different.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a complete tangent that had no real relation, but.
Had to explain it. Fitz, Aria, Emily, and Allison are driving in the car. Allie apologizes to Aria on behalf of the friends. Aria says, you all panicked. It's okay. They drive up to a police checkpoint, and Fitz is like, ooh, we're not getting caught in this, and turns around. Hannah tries to, we don't know what that was for. Hannah tries to call people waiting outside the church, and she's trying to call people and waiting outside the church, and then sees flower petals falling from an open window up top. Spencer and Caleb walk through the tunnel and find a fork. Hannah climbs a fork in the path. Like 2 different ways they can
Not
go.
just a piece of cutlery.
A fork. They're like Ariel.
A dingle hopper.
Exactly. We're on the same page. Hannah. Okay, I'm going to relay one more tangent. We went to the Costco and got a membership. We're very excited to get a membership. Thank you to Emily's brother David for birthday gift for that. And we sign up and we get it. We get the kind of like base standard one. And then the lady looks at us. We're just kind of wearing normal clothes and then goes like, oh, upgrade. When you're going to be booking your next Disney trip, make sure to upgrade to executive and then you'll get points back. It's like, how does she know?
I looked down thinking I was wearing a Disney shirt. I was wearing like a white t-shirt and a black like little like overall thing.
I think I was wearing like a blue shirt.
You had Mario on your shirt.
Oh, Mario.
Because I was like, oh, maybe he's got Mickey. And then I was like, nope, that's Mario.
Like, she just read us.
Yeah, I'm like looking down. I'm like, I'm not wearing my Mickey Crocs. Like,
Hannah climbs up the bell tower and sees someone dropping petals. It's Mona, but she's in pigtails and glasses. Nerdy Mona. And then Hannah asks why she's there, and Mona says, waiting for you, Charlotte. Hannah's like, I'm not Charlotte. Mona shakes her head and says, Hannah wasn't here, Charlotte was. Hannah asks why Charlotte wanted Mona to meet her, and Mona says she had to. Flashback. Mona has flowers and meets Charlotte at the top of the bell tower. Charlotte asks why Mona wanted to visit her in the hospital. Mona says, the same reason I'm here, to see if there's anything to worry about. I kept an eye on you for 5 years, seeing you playing the doctors in the court. And then you're and your sister, but you couldn't fool me. Charlotte says, you were the smart one, not Spencer. Mona says, you're out and I won't let you hurt people again. Charlotte's like, you're going to stop me? Do you still see her when you look in the mirror, the loser with the pigtails and the ugly sweater? I do right now. None of you truly know who you are when you look in the mirror because I took that away from you, just like everything was stolen from me. Now I'm back and everything that happened before will feel like a picnic. Mona says, I won't let you do that to my friends. Charlotte says, not only did you lose the game, you lost the story. Everything is mine. Mona grabs a screwdriver and Charlotte says, you don't have the guts. Mona grabs her and says, let's find out. People think you committed suicide your first night home, and then pushes her kind of up to the ledge of the bell tower. Jump or I'll make you. I'm giving you more of a chance than you ever did me. Back in the present, Caleb and Spencer come running upstairs, and Mona says, you're not going to trick me this time, and goes to push Hannah out when Caleb grabs her, and Hannah says, Mona killed Charlotte. Outside, the friends lead Mona to their car and find 2 puzzle pieces hanging from the side mirror. They meet up with the friends at the Lost Woods, and they debate Mona's fate. Aria says we can call Dr. Sullivan, who can take Mona to the police and explain. Caleb and Fitz will stay with Mona while the friends head to a different cabin. In the other cabin, they put the final pieces into the game. Caleb and Fitz can't see this. It lights up with claim your grand prize and shows an image of Rollins' ID card. The phone says the eyes have it. Spencer leans the phone over the puzzle, which looks like a face. It then scans the puzzle piece, and an AR figure starts walking around the board. Spencer follows the figure to the mysterious location. It says, or the spot on the board that says mystery location, which turns out to be Aunt Carol's. They go to Aunt Carol's and find that Rollins' body was put in the fake grave for Charlotte. Before they start digging, Aria asks, like, hey, they find out that Rollins' body was supposedly buried there. So then they go to start digging it up, and Aria's like, why were we going to do this? Why don't we just walk away and leave him for the worms? And it's like, it's never going to end. We need to stop acting crazy and scared. And it's like, oh, you're right.
Like, where are they going to move the body to?
Right. It's just like, Spencer's like, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. And it's like, if we walk away now, we'll just end up with him. Hannah says, we'll end up just like Mona. They all walk away. Then they hear an engine start up and a tractor emerges from the trees along with Tanner and the police. The friends are all gathered at the police station. Spencer's like, well, tell the truth. Hannah says, how will that get us off? And Spencer's like, we're not getting off this time. Tanner comes in smiling. The body of the farm was identified as Archer. She says she has something to do, and then she walks out of the room, and a light lights up behind them, and they see that they're on the other side of the one-way glass with Mary in an interrogation room. Tanner walks into... or two-way glass, I think is... I can't remember. Tanner walks in to walk Mary through her statement. Mary admits to killing Archer with a stolen car, and then tells Tanner about working with Archer and killing her sister. She worked with someone to make it seem like Dunhill was alive. She didn't give up that person, though, and says they didn't know what they were doing. They thought they were just helping someone in trouble. Tanner asks if she knows why the friends were at the farm. Mary says they must have figured it out. It was me. You were going to arrest them. They had to do something. Tanner asks her to read over the statement and leaves the room. Tanner comes back in, tells them they're free to go. Hannah's like, well, you're just going to let us go like that? Tanner's like, you haven't done anything wrong. Aria says, you used to think we did. Tanner says the DA likes cases tied up in a neat bow, not one with conspiracy theories and wild connections. Mary is guilty of at least one murder, her own sister. Spencer asks if she believes she killed Dunhill. Tanner says, what I believe and what I can prove are two different things. Go home. You're not guilty. Try and remember that. Spencer stops Tanner and asks to talk to Mary. Tanner says it's better to not. Spencer sees Mary get escorted out, who signals to Spencer to keep quiet. The friends are back at the Lost Woods, and Spencer tells Mona they called Dr. Sullivan, who will be there in a few hours. Hannah apologizes for Mona for showing her the game. Mona says, you needed me just like you needed me to take care of Charlotte. I'm sorry I messed that up. It never happens the way it's supposed to be. Spencer asks what she means. Flashback. Mona is giving a speech to Charlotte as she stands on the ledge, being like, yeah, you're never going to mess with us ever again, all that stuff. And Charlotte says, please, Mona, don't. Mona says, now you know what it's like to be afraid. She pulls her back in and throws her to the ground and says, that's what dying tastes like. Choke on it for the rest of your life. Charlotte says, I knew you didn't have the guts, and attacks Mona. The two fight until Mona eventually pushes Charlotte into a pipe that has a little exposed piece of metal, which pushes to the back of Charlotte's head and kills her. The next morning, the friends watch the game shut up. Allie touches it and says, it's dead. Hannah says Mona finished the game when she told us she killed Charlotte. Mona says AD has nothing less to threaten us with. They all leave and the camera pans over the board. We see all the friends' pieces are in baggies on a car seat as a hooded figure drives a big car. The end.
Okay. How is Aria part of the arrest warrant if they saw that there was footage of her in another state?
Right. It doesn't
they
make
never
sense at all.
explained this.
Mm-mm.
What changed that Aria is now included?
Right. Because that
just because she do they think it's she knew, so it's she's part of the conspiracy, or is it just totally random?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because she is literally seen in something. So what made them change their mind on that piece of evidence?
I also wrote, I am Aria talking to the body in the trunk.
It's so good.
I talk to everything.
Good. Aria has really good scenes in both these episodes. Where she's just like, yeah, what do you think? What? And then when she comes up with the plan to turn it in, it's like, do you think that's a good idea?
Me too.
I'm glad you agree. Yeah.
Did Ezra make a valid point about the friends cutting Aria off?
Yeah, absolutely. Fitz right of being like, you have all done shit.
Yeah. Me especially.
Right. I should know. But he made a valid point. Come on now. There's bigger things to deal with right now.
Caleb not letting Hannah go down the thing and sending her away on her own is the weirdest choice, but it was so that we could have this Spencer Caleb scene that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. It just
Why
makes
do
me
you
mad.
think they did this? Just to like give us fake closure?
I guess so. They're really going out of I hate how much the show has gone out of her way for Spencer to be like, it's okay, it wasn't meant to be. Oh, I'm pissed at you, but like, oh, it's all right. It's like they have to like smooth over the mess they made of like why Spencer and Hannah and Caleb can still be all in the same room together. And I think it should just be like, I don't forgive you. This is a thing of convenience would be so much better. And it's like, as soon as we figure out, as soon as this is behind us, I'm never going to see you again.
Or like, you know what? Maybe we can be friends in the future. Like we have a lifelong friendship. I understand that you were confused, but I'm going to be mad about it.
Yeah.
Like I liked the scene where she was like, just let me be upset about it. Like I thought that was valid because I think there's like it's okay to look at something and be like, you know what? It's fine that they're together. And it was never going to work for us. And I don't want to be a part of something that was never going to work. But that doesn't mean that we invalidate her frustration and anger and sadness.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like play with the tension that's there already rather than making a character bend over backwards to make something okay.
Let's talk about Mary Drake.
Oh, yeah.
She put the deed in Spencer and Allie's name.
It's weird. I guess the Allie thing is a mea culpa. Like trying to like help Allison out, said she robbed Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that money?
We don't know.
It's just gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Just gone forever?
Stolen.
Maybe we'll find out next episode, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that it's both Spencer and Allison.
It's her daughter and her niece.
Yeah. But it would make sense specifically to be Spencer, my daughter. But my assumption is because she feels guilty too.
Why did Mary Drake take the blame for the murder?
I'm wondering if Mary's going to get out of jail next episode or if Mary's going to get killed.
Oh.
Because I do think there is a part of Mary that is, I want to help my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can't help that we still have one more episode with an AD hanging over all of this.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a fine enough explanation that it is, I just wanted to help my daughter. But I'm wondering if there's bigger things afoot. I wonder if Mary could even get rescued and then axed. But I'm assuming that Mary will get busted out of jail.
There we go. Let's talk about Mona and the game. Mona reverting to nerdy Mona, Charlotte being a villain to Mona, Mona killing Charlotte. What do we feel is going to happen with Mona? What do we feel about Mona killing Charlotte? Do we even care?
Okay. We've talked already in the summary. Nerdy Mona, I think reverting back really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think also to play that Mona has somehow not found herself, where Mona, I think, really has.
Also, this idea that like nerdy isn't hot is annoying.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
sexy
look
librarians. Has anyone we play with this all the time.
Totally.
Like as a society, not we personally.
That's right. But in our case, I'm the librarian.
It's got a sexy librarian lingerie.
That's right. Ooh, look at that polo.
You steal my glasses.
That's right.
Anyway.
But yeah, and I understand the conception of this is when Mona has felt her worst. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Mona is still carrying around this chip. There's been nothing that has ever pointed to this.
No.
And it's like that her killing Charlotte is somehow left this big wound in her about this, that like somehow Charlotte got to the depth of her soul, and in the depth of her soul it's just like nerdy, no one likes her Mona.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's like, yeah, that's me, because Mona comes back and is like stunts on everybody with how smart she is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like not, she's like, yeah, I'm nerdy, like I'm really fucking smart.
Yeah,
it doesn't align. Yeah. And then her killing Charlotte, which I think should be a victory for her, because Charlotte did like just absolutely terrible things to her, put her in a fucking hole, and made her dress up and be Allison. So I feel like that should be like a big victory for her, even if she would feel weird about killing someone, obviously, because killing someone, that's tough.
That's a big thing.
I don't think it would do this to her.
No, not the same Mona that faked her death so she could go find A.
Right. And then also the reveal that, oh no, Charlotte's actually just the biggest piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's a supervillain. Charlotte literally gives a supervillain speech. I'm going to take over this whole town. You aren't going to even like understand like how bad it's going to be for all of you.
And it's so awful because it's like, once again, perpetuating this concept that traumatized people do this, that a trans person would do this. Like, there's so many issues with Cece being the villain that I can't. I'm like, couldn't we have just left this alone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could Cece have not been the villain in one scenario and the victim in another?
Yeah. Because especially when it's like, oh, she was doing a big manipulation the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. So now we're just back to the evil trans person.
Mm-hmm. Where is A taking the game pieces? The 4 game pieces? Or the 5? How many girls were there? 5?
Oh, right. Yeah. Are we going to go back to the dollhouse in the last episode?
Where are we going to go?
I don't know. I really don't know.
My last question for you is like, what is the last episode? Is it right after this one? Is it a time jump? Is it like what's the finale? Like, what's the plot of the finale? What's like the normal plot, and then what's, what goes sour? Because obviously that's how the show goes.
Yeah. Should we maybe fold this into the final theory corner / spoiler zone?
You can take that into theory corner spoiler zone. Yeah. You ready?
And big news or big hints here. As for what the like wider A plot is going to be, I don't know. But let us step into welcome to Theory Corner, everybody. The final main series PLL theory. Theory Corner.
What a way to say goodbye.
Can't even get it out. Getting
Theory
so
Corner.
emotional, I'm reverting back to being a baby. Oh boy. So what's gonna happen?
It's been a weird one.
It's been a ride. What's gonna happen in the next episode? Okay, first of all, I'm gonna do a non-spoiler zone theory corner, and then we'll do one last spoiler zone theory corner on the stuff that I know.
Okay.
So what is gonna happen next episode? Well, I assume that Aria and Fitz are gonna get married.
Go into the chapel and we're gonna get married.
I assume that it's gonna be like maybe a few weeks to like a month or so later.
Okay.
Like where the dust is settled, they haven't quite moved on from Rosewood yet, and but things, people are like now and like, okay, I kind of feel like I'm ready to start living my life again. Is where everybody's gonna be. I really worry that Mona's still gonna be like catatonic, like being like, oh, I'm still like not as like powerful anymore. I'm just like, oh, I'm still working on myself, but maybe in the future I'll feel better. Which blech, blech, blech. And we'll have the Aria and Fitz wedding. We'll have like Caleb and Hannah start to like look at like they have like a place lined up for them in New York. They're gonna go back there again. Hannah's got like a fashion job. I think there's gonna be a lot of fan service up front of like, here's like these cathartic moments. It's like Emily and Allison like setting up their house again. They're Allison is slightly farther along, but they're getting ready to like start like really like live into their lives. And let's see, Spencer is going to be packing up to like head back to DC, put things behind her, and like Toby's kind of being like, why aren't you going to hang around anymore? And then we're going to get record scratch. Something's happening with AD, and then they have to go like track them down or something. I'm trying to think of like how they get to the scene
That you know.
that I know.
Uh-huh.
And that's a tricky one.
Uh-huh.
And so again, I can't, I'm not going to pontificate about that, but I still think the AD's main thing is going to be that they want to keep the game going. They are intoxicated now by the game and we're going to get all these retcons that AD has been controlling everything from the very beginning. And then we're going to find, and then we find out who Aria and Allison and Emily's baby's father is.
Who is it?
I'm still going to say Toby.
Okay.
I'm going to say Toby. Just kick that. kick him once again. And I don't know who else it would be. Toby, then maybe Dunhill, I guess.
Okay.
Can't think of like who else. Oh, and then as for who the death is that's off screen that we don't see, my final guess is Lucas.
Okay.
It's gonna be that's my final guess.
You locking that one in?
Yes. That it's a important character, but a side character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think any of the girls, any of the main love interests this is going to happen to. I could also see it happening to a parent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Lucas, and if not Lucas, then Peter number 2.
Okay.
Is there anything else in the non-spoiler zone that I should hit? I think that's it.
I think that's it.
All right. So for the people that don't want to listen to the final spoiler zone, we will see you next week
for the finale.
And if you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about, chat about, all that good stuff, anything about the show, send it in to the email or comment it on YouTube. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, love you. Bye.
All right. Spoiler zone. It is very suspicious to me that Mary has not mentioned twins.
Okay.
That when she talks to Spencer about like her being her daughter, there's never a mention of a sister.
No.
So I think that's suspicious. And that's where
In what way?
Of like, why is Mary withholding this from her?
Oh, got it.
Why didn't it be like, and you also had a sister? So that's why I wonder also if like AD's going to bust like Mary out of jail next time.
Okay.
And like what the plan there is. I guess like something around there of Mary takes the fall, and AD's like, no, what are you doing? You're like ruining everything. And I do think that AD is now moved on now that they've figured out who killed Charlotte, that it's just like a
side hustle.
Yeah, or they're intoxicated by the game, like that whole thing.
So is Mary working with AD, or are they just
Yes.
Okay.
Mary was, like, I think when Mary came over with Dunhill and things, like AD was part of that.
Okay.
So how do I just don't know how so the scene I know is
hello, sister.
Yeah, is AD on the other side of glass.
Uh-huh.
And then and there's like a group of people. I think it's Spencer, and I think Toby's there too. But I don't know who else is there. I really don't know who is in that scene. I only know because like watching it out of context, I'm like, oh, those two are twins because it's played by the same actor.
You're like so close, but not quite.
Well, you know. So I just don't know how we get there, because AD is kidnapped in that sense. It seems like AD is like locked up.
Okay.
Instead of the rest of them. Unless AD happened to grab them all. It seems like in that scene that AD is the one behind in some sort of like cage, in sort of like concrete thing.
Okay.
But maybe it's not that. And maybe AD brings them all somewhere.
Okay. Because
if I remember, AD says, hello, sister, from like getting up from the ground. And that makes me think that like AD was like brought there.
Okay.
But I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe we get girl boss Mona back. And Mona tracked 80 down and brought him in, I guess maybe to the dollhouse. I don't know where that is. I just don't know. Like the police station or something? Maybe.
You're gonna absolutely lose your fucking mind when you figure it out.
Of like where this is?
Uh-huh.
Is it Aunt Carol's?
No.
Wow. I didn't think the location would be, I'll say dollhouse, which doesn't seem right, but I'm trying to think of where else this could be. I guess Rosewood High would be probably the other place.
No.
Man, okay. I need to stop guessing.
You need to stop guessing because if you get too close,
exactly.
then I have to lie to you.
Mm-hmm. Damn. All right. Is there anything else I should hit here?
How do you think couple-wise it's going to end? Who's with who?
Okay, so Haleb, Ezria, Emerson. Is it gonna be Spoby again, or are they just? Because the weird thing is because it's obviously AD that goes to
hooking up with Toby and has kissed Toby.
Right.
Spencer hasn't done any of this.
So maybe, yeah, I'm gonna say they don't end up together. So maybe Spencer doesn't end up with anybody.
How does AD have the mark on her chest that's like Spencer's gunshot wound?
Right. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
I guess like self-inflicted or something. Because AD's just that wild. Or is AD the one that got shot? But Spencer got shot.
Spencer got shot.
Someone else shot AD? Oh, and the other thing actually I do know was you had told me about Jenna being like, Spencer doesn't smell right.
Yeah, it's not Spencer. It's
so funny.
It doesn't smell like Spencer.
Been reading Daredevil comics and I'm like, damn, they're just really fucking pulling from this.
Well, there you go.
Which, not good here, but Daredevil's great.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts? Any final predictions?
No, I think that's it.
What do you think Emily and Hannah's baby?
Alison's
baby. It's plot twist. It's Hannah's.
Oh my God, Hannah's the father. And then, what about them?
What do you think the baby's name is, or what do you think the gender of the baby is?
Oh, it has to be. I'm guessing it's a girl, and she'll name it Charlotte.
Okay.
Or like, well, maybe Jessica.
Okay. I was just like, I don't think they're like that special of names. I don't remember, but I was just like,
Maya.
Oh my God.
I'll go with Jessica.
Jessica. Okay. Baby
in honor
Jessica.
of her shitty mom.
There you go. All right. Well,
that's it. Thank you so much for joining this special final for the show, Theory Corner. We'll see you all in a new show. Not next week. There'll be no Theory Corner.
Yeah, next week there'll be no Theory Corner.
Yeah. All right. Well,
unless you have to theorize on some things. Actually, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Guess we'll find out. We'll maybe see you next week, but if not, in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
All right.
Yeah. I think these are very messy episodes with some really dumb reveals.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, I did have fun watching it.
Yeah. I'm having a lot more fun this watch than I did finishing the show when I was like actually watching it.
Yeah. If I had seen this like week to week, and I would be very annoyed at this. But I mean, when we're just kind of like cruising along like this, it's different doing it with the podcast. You can just kind of revel in like how ridiculous it is.
Mm-hmm.
While when you stop to think about it, which is what week to week programming does, when you're just like thinking about it and theorizing and things, then it's just like, yeah, this all falls apart and is really dumb. And I hate what they do to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. But in the moment watching it, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is fun.
All right. Well,
you can find this podcast. Okay, actually, first, before we launch into that, again, just one more call for questions and things. Send them on to our email at deadendspcast@gmail.com and comments on YouTube. And then you can also find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find us on YouTube at dead_ends. tell your friends about it, friends and family about our podcast. We don't do any sorts of advertising. We're just a humble, small podcast. And give us 5 stars. It helps, supposedly. And I think that's it.
All
so
right.
for now, we're still here and we're about to find out everything.
Okay, love you. Bye.